I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 9, and today we take on the Twilight Forest. Now, diving into All the Mods 9 today is going to be a bit interesting because I want to venture into the Twilight Forest. Now, thankfully, getting into the Twilight Forest is still the same as it's always been. You surround a hole that's a 2x2 with flowers, and you drop a diamond into some water. And that's pretty much it. But the dimension, from what I know now, also has flight prevented in that dimension, which I think is honestly kind of cool. And I feel like flight has always sort of ruined the Twilight Forest in mod packs. Now, yes, we do also need to go into this dimension to be able to complete the All the Mods Star. And we're also going to probably start prepping things at this point to automate, because I kind of want to make more than just the base star. I would actually like to make the bee, if at all possible. And it does seem like that is going to be more of a realistic goal now that I've seen some of the recipes that do exist. For example, this right here, that would have been part of the master reality. This used to, I think, only allow you to use the 256, which honestly, this thing takes ages to craft. But we should be able to craft up what looks to be just a regular storage part, which, yes, this does cost a lot of resources, but still, this I think can be crafted way better. And since we already have refined storage, there's still only going to be a few things we need to get into applied energistics for, thus making automation so much easier for several of these things. Now, something that is usually pretty difficult is bosses, right? So automation of bosses outside of this method right here, which I still don't know if we can do just yet with the Drigmies and the Twilight Forest bosses, which we're going to be able to hopefully test out. But what I'm thinking is we could use this, or we can go about the route that it probably suggests in here, and that is to use hostile neural networks. And I feel like hostile neural networks, while it does cost a lot of power and room to set this up, is going to be fundamental to the All the Mods Star. So with that being said, I have crafted up quite a few things in my backpack, quite a few model frameworks, which we can use to at least capture all of these bosses that we're going to be encountering through this mod. Now, first things first is to probably just completely wipe all of the bosses and to go ahead and have all of the Twilight unlocked, because there is a progression that you have to follow that is going to allow you to go from one boss section to the next. Now, before we jump in, even though I know I really want to get into the Twilight, I'm probably going to need a bow. That is one thing that is going to be very helpful for fighting the Urgast, which is a giant gas boss, by the way. It will be up in the air, and the best way to sort of take it down is with arrows. Also, pulling it down and being able to hit it is one thing that we can do. But I'm probably going to want to use a Supremium bow and get this thing enchanted, at least with infinity. We can definitely put as much power as we can on there, some quick draw, and might as well hit it with some soulbound if at all possible. Now, I definitely can't forget to go ahead and Godforge this. There we go. And also put some of these gems on here for the bow. 25% crit chance and 40% arrow damage. I think this thing is a killer. This thing is insane. Probably not the best bow, but it's definitely up there. Now, because we won't have the ability to fly, we're probably going to be back to using our trusty steed. And if you are wondering what this is, it is just called Summon Horse, and mine is only at level 5 and seems to work out really, really well and is insanely fast. Now, let's open up the portal. To do this, we just need to simply drop a diamond into a water pool that is too wide that has some flowers around it. Doesn't have to be poppy specifically, but when we toss it in, it will start a fire, so we want to make sure to put that out. And there we go. We now have access to the Twilight Forest. And well, it's time to go in here. I'm pretty excited. The Twilight Forest is such a cool dimension, such a classic, and yes, it is very, very cool looking. Now that we've made it into the Twilight, let's go ahead and hit L. And whenever we hit L, it's going to pull up what is our advancement menu. And then we can tab over and we'll see the Twilight Forest page. This is your ultimate guide, basically, to this entire mod, if you want to use this. Now, you can also use the quest book, because now that we've made it into this dimension, we will now have a full quest layout that will help us also progress through this dimension. But ultimately, we have to achieve what this has listed here in order to gain access to the other areas that you might notice are protected. Now, the way we want to go about this is to take on the Naga, take on the Lich, Then we want to go to the swamps and run the maze. Then we want to go after the Hydra. And then you can technically do the Dark Forest, I believe, before the swamps. These both kind of branch off from one another as there are two separate paths. But after you've completed the Dark Forest, you will be able to fight the Gast, and then we'll be able to go into the snowy areas, fight the Yeti, and then fight the Snow Queen, which will lead us into taking on some giants, getting the tools needed to open up a chest, and then we'll get the Lamp of Cinders, which will allow us to go into the final boss arena, which I don't know if there's anything custom added here, but it is a massive castle, and thus we have everything unlocked inside of this. It says the real final boss, growing trees. Yes, because it's the best thing about this dimension is the fact that, well, the wood is beautiful. Now, aside from all of that, remember, we can't fly in this dimension. It is going to take us down back to the ground. So yes, and I really don't want to try and bypass this, as I do know it is intended for you not to be able to fly, and I don't find it fun to try and break things all the time. Like, I don't know. I really feel like this is something not really worth breaking. Now, taking on the bosses, that's a different story. We're probably gonna be able to shred through them with our current gear. We'll see. Now, early on, one of the best things to do is to find yourself a raven, take on the raven, and then make yourself a map once you've found some berries from one of these little caves that you'll see strung about. We should have, for example, potentially some berries down here if we just take a look. So yeah, some of these torch berries that we just found are some of the things that we're going to need. And also, by the way, just to mention, how do I get out of holes like this? Well, I actually have another trick up my sleeve, or a spell up my sleeve, and that is I do have the ability to technically teleport. So I'm not like limited to my travels, as we do have a teleport spell. But yes, torch berries, these are important, as we need to combine this with a raven feather in order to make the map, which we don't 100% need, but as we do have an actual map that allows us to see everything. But if you're just getting started, it's a really easy way to see where all the bosses are at. Now, let's see if we can't find our first boss. This is just ridiculous how quick we can travel around with this. And aha, this right here. This is the place where we need to go. Let's go ahead and see. I should be able to teleport through here. And yes, this is the Naga. And now I wonder how quickly our bow alone can take this out. Okay, so almost completely gone. Completely taken out. And one shot with our sword, and the Naga is down. This is just one small part of our progress. However, I did do something wrong. I did not add it to my framework. I got too excited. Now, that's going to be something that I'm going to have to keep in mind, but we're going to have to take on several of these. I think it does require you to take on 6 bosses anyways. So I'm sure we're going to find more of these, as the Naga bosses are pretty common. After taking on the boss, it does drop a chest that does have a few items in it, being the trophy. And there we go. Now we should be able to travel to our next one, which is going to be the Lich. Now, it is incredibly hard to miss the Lich Tower, as it looks like this. Now, this is going to be one that I'm going to definitely need to turn on night vision for. And let's just pop right in and make our way up. This is going to be a lot of mobs to kill, but we got to make our way all the way to the top. Oh, I love some of these sides. The mustache is awesome. Yes, all the way to the top we go. This boss can be kind of challenging. I don't know if it's going to be with our current gear, but it can be challenging early game. I think there are some ways you can technically cheese it, I think with splash potions. But for us, we are just going to try, and do it the way that I know best, and that is to try and complete the mini game. Let's also first though, let's add the data model for this. And now we have that stored. And then we need to put it inside of here. Do that. And then just keeping this on us should be fine. Now, you will notice we shouldn't be able to technically hit the Lich, right? It is taking damage. I don't know exactly what from, but we can't exactly just hit it. And we can't shoot arrows at it, but we should be able to knock these projectiles back at it. And that is what we're supposed to do to be able to fight this thing. Just like that. And we knock the shields off. until we're able to swipe at it. So there we go. Waiting for it to toss. Oh, I don't know which one's which. It's so hard sometimes to tell. Okay, this one. This is one of the hardest bosses in my opinion. Out of all of the bosses, this is the hardest. Maybe I should just punch it back. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, I think my sword is like destroying the projectile. There we go. So I'm able to hit it back. It's those. There we go. We got the shields down. And last but not least, it's those explosions that can really get you. All right. There we go. One more, and it should be L for this guy. And there we go. And so, just a couple of shots or one shot, and we're good. Perfect. Oh, there's some cool animations too. Look at these little particle effects. And there we go. So, on our deep learner, we should now have 5 remaining of these bosses that we'll have to take on. And you could tell this will take some time. This is the main trophy I believe that we need though for everything. No, we need the Snow Queen trophy, right? Even for this, we are going to need the Snow Queen trophy. This might be the only one that we actually set up because the Snow Queen, even for the ATM Star, I believe is the one that we're going to want. Let's see. This head leads us into this, the Master, which I think this is, yeah, also the Snow Queen. So we're probably going to want to take on a fair few Snow Queen. Now, the next boss on our list, just to be able to get through all of this, is going to be in the swamps. And the quest says, I wonder if I'll find Shrek. Oh, no. You know what? You and swamps probably don't go good together. I don't want another Artax incident. Oh, gosh. I want to teleport through here. Now, this structure is honestly what I'm looking for anyways. Now, something to note, you're probably going to want to put a waystone down here because it is going to be a pain to get back out of this thing once you are done. So I'm just going to call it here, and that way I can place another one down at the bottom of this thing because there is a bedrock layer that separates the maze that we are about to jump into. And this has to be one of the hardest parts of the Twilight Forest. So let's go ahead and do this. So once we're down here, mining through this wall, well, with our current gear is honestly not too bad. But I kind of want to avoid doing that at all costs. Also, this is what it looks like without having any sort of night vision. So night vision is 100% recommended. And also maybe having some blocks that you can place down to sort of note where you have been. But we should be able to discover a map once we're in here. Also, there's going to be traps. But there's a few things I'm going to need to grab. Doesn't seem like iron metal is one of the things that are on my list. Also, there's going to be mobs that are just going to be just trying to pick you up and cause all kinds of problems. I think steel leaf, yeah. Steel leaf is one. So I do need to gather up steel leaf because some of these things, for example, I think steel leaf has a seed. And so we do need steel leaf in order to make all of these seeds. And all of these blocks are going to be blocks that are going to be needed to be awakened to make the miniature Twilight portal, which is for the ATM Star. One of the best ways to prevent yourself from getting lost in this area is to block off dead ends. That is going to save you so much time. There are so many weird creatures that you're going to discover throughout this area. I mean, we're finding all kinds of stuff. Slimes, man, our horse is getting in the way. All kinds of nutty stuff going on. Aha, we have now entered one of the most important areas if you were playing through this and it didn't have the ability to really see anything going on. This room is amazing because there's a chance that we can get a hold. Let me go ahead and break this spawner. There's a chance that we can get a hold of something. I believe this right here is TNT that will explode this area, but this right here, this map focus is going to be your best friend. So because we have access, oh, we got 2 of them. Because we have access to our inventory, we should be able to just craft these up. So that is going to be super nice. And this will give us a map layout like this of the area we're in. How cool is that? Look at this. Okay, this guy is straight up. Hey, quit. Look, it gives us a map. So we should be able to now easily navigate our way through this area. And we have another one for the next layer. mean, these things are pretty helpful. Like, we can determine where there's going to be a dead end before we even finish clearing that whole area. And putting this thing in our offhand makes this even easier. And right here, I believe, is the layer down. So we should be able to now go down another level. And I think there's only 2 levels. I could be wrong. Oh, I see mushrooms sticking through the wall. Is that because there's a mushroom area over here? There is. Okay, so now I think at this point, we should be able to craft another one of these maps to map out this level. So let's go ahead and grab that. Then when we activate this one, now we have a new map that is associated with this level, which will help us clear it. And here we are. This is technically like the mini boss of this area. And this, yeah, is on this layer. So let's go ahead and just capture it. So we have a data model for this. And yes, this guy is not that difficult for you to take out, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We should be able to just one-shot him. And it does drop this beef stroganoff, which is very important for us. So let's go ahead and put some of this in our storage here. And then we'll just put a waystone here. Like I said, you don't want to have to try and find your way back out of this. It is kind of chaos to do that. Look at that. We're getting gems and all kinds of goodies from this and more map focuses. I'll take that. And we definitely need the steel leaf from this area, as that is probably the most important thing for us. And then, yeah, I'm going to grab the rest of this, including the trophy. So we can now travel from got beef to here, and that's pretty nice. And I'm going to go ahead and just simply remove this waypoint. Now, if I remember correctly, to be able to take on the next section, we have to actually eat this stroganoff. So let's do this. And there we go. So we ate our mighty stroganoff, and this should now allow us to take on the Hydra, which should also be in this swamp. Ah, yes, the fiery embers are burning. This area right here, once it turns red, you know you're in the correct location. And this giant mound is where we're going to find the Hydra. And this is such an interesting boss. So let's get into the arena and get ready to go. So this guy is going to spit out fireballs, and our goal is to get them over there and to hit them back at the heads, if at all possible, while avoiding this attack. So yes, you do have to get kind of close enough to hit them back at the head of the dragon. So this right here, and you can tell which mouth is going to be shooting the flames and which one is going to be shooting these balls. Because you'll see the fire effects for the fire, and then the like smoke effect is going to be for the ones you want to hit back. Just like that. And try your best to avoid these. Now, this is the way to take it on. Now, I think that you can hurt it, and you can take on the heads with a sword if you absolutely want to, and you have a strong enough weapon. But ultimately, the best way is the way that I just showed, by knocking as many balls as you can back into its mouth. Don't quote me on that one. Aha. And this also gives us a chest, and we will have fiery blood in this one. And this is going to be used to make the, I believe, a special material. Yes, the fiery metal. So fiery metal, the way we can make it is with these seeds, and we only need 4 of these ingots to do this. And it's just combining iron with the fiery blood that we just got. And that should give us exactly what we need. Pretty darn cool. And now we have the Hydra trophy. Keep in mind, by the way, you can equip these trophies onto your head. And look at this. We now have a Hydra head. Now at this point, it's time for our magic self to, well, go into the Dark Forest. Now the Dark Forest, wow, did they update this? It does appear that the roof of this forest is taller than it used to be. Because I remember before, you would really have to fight your way through these leaves in order to go here. This is pretty cool, actually. Now, it is pitch black like this without night vision. So as much as I will say, you need night vision. It is so necessary, I think, for getting through the Twilight Forest, as this is such a dark, dark place. But we need to sort of go towards the middle area of this. And this is honestly where having the actual map would be more helpful. Because I can wander through here. Yeah, this right here. I could wander through this and not actually find this. But this is what we're looking for. And you won't be able to see it from the map. It is completely covered up. So yeah, this would be kind of nice to have that map, but we actually got lucky and found it. Now, let's go ahead and place a head. Now you can get it back once you do this, but we are going to need some sort of boss head to place onto this. When we do that, our horse went first. When we do that, that will go ahead and activate the trophy pedestal. And there we go. We now have exactly what we need, and that is access into this place. And we are going to be looking for something specific, and it can be very hard for me to find. This might, honestly, this is very close and very similar to the difficulty of the maze, except this one's more like RNG, hoping that you find the right corridor. But what you want to be on the lookout for is iron bars and obsidian, because that is going to be the entrance into the boss room. Now, this is also another location where taking on some of these mobs is going to be very useful. Not these, but I believe like the crabs and these guys right here. These guys give us these armor shards. They can be used to make the armor clusters, which are smelted down to make night steel, which is one of the blocks that we're going to need. So yes, for the All the Mods Star. These guys are so cool. It's actually one of the smaller guys with another guy on top. And so it's technically two of them. Look at this little guy. Oh my gosh, the lower knight. It's hilarious. This tree down here is really cool. This is the rainbow oak. And I believe, yes, we can get saplings. I think we just got a rainbow oak sapling. Yes, perfect. Just like that. Now, it's just the leaves that are really cool on this. Funny enough, after finding this tree, look what's right here. I think this is access to one of the areas. Oh, no, no, no. This is just access to one of the spawners. I thought for a moment I had actually found the location, but no, this is a chest room. Still, though, this is pretty cool to be able to find. After literally almost giving up on this. Oh, I have found it. Right here. Like I said, iron bars and obsidian, and this will mark another boss room. This one's not too bad, actually. We just need to simply take out all of the knights, and they do some cool spinny effects, like this. But with this powerful sword, they are honestly just the act of finding them is what's hard. There we go. And so we get ourselves some phantom stuff. That is technically all we need to do. And believe it or not, there's never been anything inside of these graves, unfortunately. Now is when things get fun, right? We need to travel to this part on the map right here that looks a little bit red. And this is going to be the Gast Tower. And the Gast has to be one of the coolest bosses. Also has one of the most interesting sort of dungeons that you would walk through and sort of discover keys and unlock doors. But the boss mechanics are so cool. I just wish that, I don't know, I wish there was more of that throughout this entire dimension. But this is it. This is the Gast Tower. And we should be able to click these to gain access into the interior of this place. But it is absolutely a maze/dungeon in this bad boy. So, you know what? It is cool to go back and show some of this, but the actual RNG of finding these keys that we're going to need to sort of progress through can be kind of daunting. But yeah, look at this. It is straight up just a regular maze inside of here. This is such a cool, like, little mini game. Oh, there's some cake. Element 115. Sorry, Experiment 115, not Element. That would be a totally different thing. Yes, this place just includes all kinds of wackiness. Like, for example, this puzzle right here, where when we activate it, it builds an imaginary bridge that we can actually walk on to get to other locations, right? And I think we have to do this in a manner that is in time. Like, you have to do this quick. So get over here, activate this lever, and that right there should build a bridge up to the location that we want to get to. So you have to figure out first which one does what. That's so cool, right? This is such a cool little like puzzle, and you have to do this to get through the whole thing. Look at this. It builds. And technically we can make this jump, and then we activate this. That leads there, and this leads up top, and so on and so forth. You know, this is really powerful because we can just, you know, boop our way up here. Now this right here is one of the examples I was talking about being locked. And these require special keys that you can find inside of some of the loot chests. But finding them, that's where I think the RNG is just a lot, right? For example, inside of chests like these, you have a chance. Let's see, we can move this block. Looks like we're going to have to actually break this block. By the way, the Twilight blocks are very hard to break. Yeah, you have a chance of finding those keys inside of chests like that. Now, this might be a dead giveaway because it does look like this inventory hasn't been generated yet, but it's not a normal generation. Yeah, because it doesn't have the looter skin. Interesting. Same for this one. And this one appears to not have anything on it as well. Does it have a key? It does. So this right here is a tower key and is how you would technically progress through this. I tell you what, I would really love for this mod to be eventually finished one day. But I guess we'll just all have to wait until that point. Till then, it'll just all be a dream, I guess. Now, let's actually get to the location that we technically need to be at, and that is on the rooftop. And there we go. Look who spawns. Can we actually take this out with a bow? Okay, we cannot. But the way that we're supposed to be able to do this, it is kind of interesting, is that we go through here and we need to activate these sort of things once there's a bunch of little ones, like this over here, for example. We activate this, it brings them all here, and it should bring the Gast to us, right? For us to be able to damage. So we've got to kind of time things just right in order for this to work. I love how we're just not taking any damage because of our gear being so powerful. But yes, for example, let's see. Do we have some little ones that have spawned over here? It's so hard. This whole area is pretty rough. Okay, so there's some small ones. I think there's some small ones over here. Nope, not enough. So let's try and activate them over here. There we go. That should pull some. We have to attack these little ones, by the way. It can be quite challenging. And there we go. I'm able to deal some damage. Oh, some significant damage. There we go. One more. But yes, you want to be able to pull them towards you. It does appear like it is regenerating its health. That is kind of scary, actually. Let's see. Let's get this little guy. Oh, these ones over here. This might be the moment. Okay. Activate it. Oh, it's not over here. It is so hard to get this guy to be where you want him. Okay, so it's heading over this way. This should be pretty straightforward. Step on the pressure plate. Oh, and he moved again. Yeah, there we go. We'll go ahead and just take him out. And this should spawn in a chest in the middle. And there we go. That chaos was the Gast. Now, these things right here, I believe we don't need too many of these either. Like, we should be able to make these. Maybe not. These blocks appear to be... Oh, are we going to actually have to... How are we going to get these? They only drop from this, and they only come from the Gast. So does that mean we're going to have to fight the Gast several times? Surely not. Looks like we can make this. This is the tower borer. Okay. I don't really know what that is either. I've not seen that thing. And that's the essence that we would combine with redstone and the gas tier to make this. It does appear like that's the only way. I thought maybe there was essence for this. Now downstairs, you can find more of this on the wall, but I'm wondering, can we get a hold of that other mob? Now, I don't know if they spawn inside of this wood. Okay. Doesn't appear to be, but they're supposed to be sort of like little silverfish. Also, while we're here, we might as well activate this reactor so we can extend these pistons like this into here. And that should convert this into a reactor. Oh, it looks so good, I think, but then it just annihilates everything. It's so crazy. Oh my gosh. What a troll. Well, these might be where they're located at. So let's see if I can... Oh, yes. I want to get a swab on this if I can. Nice. Now we should be able to make a mob egg for this and put it in a spawner. Then we now would have an easy way of getting this. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Honestly, I don't even think that's necessary. We could just simply use a building block and I can go ahead and just take them out because there's so many over here. Let's just go ahead and do that, right? So I take out the infested log and then I'll right click to get a data model of it and then just simply take it out. Well, once we put it inside of our deep learner. And there we go. Perfect. We now have tower wood boar. This is kind of ridiculous. I never knew that this stuff right here had I've never seen these mobs before. Now the next place that we are heading to, well, is actually right in front of us. Inside of this cave, exactly, is going to be a Yeti. And that is going to be our next target. This one's actually kind of an easy one. We just need to walk in and really walk out. Straightforward. These guys can pose a little bit of a threat, but it shouldn't be too bad. It should just be boop and boop. He does throw a little bit of a tantrum, but there we go. And that is pretty straightforward. So just up ahead, we are going to encounter what is an interesting boss battle, more reminiscent of Mario. And this is where we're actually going to need to take our deep learner and really, these are going to be the ones we're going to have to do 6 of. Which would be kind of tough. Also, there are cute penguins over here. I'm getting distracted. Look at how cute they are. Up at the very top, we kind of have to figure out which boss area is which. I'm going to use this method to sort of get up here. But knowing which one of these top towers gains access to the boss is kind of difficult. But we are going to want to set a data on them. And these blocks are incredibly hard to mine through. So yes, you're not intended to get up here in this particular way, but this is a way you can do it. Notice, by the way, yeah, I don't think that tower is it. There is kind of a way where you might be able to hear the boss. If you get close to it, you might actually have summoned it. But yes, in this case, I don't think there's an easy way for us to teleport through the wall either. You know what? That would have been very handy, actually, and I think Ender.io has just the thing. I wonder if it's in this tower. I'm actually going to shrink down. Oh, there are some angry mobs down here. Definitely want to keep that in mind. Is this upper layer the boss? No, it is not. It is not. These areas right here, though, man, aren't these interesting? This does contain, looks like some dye. I just went for the topmost tower here. I think this is the boss. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to click that on there, toss that in. Perfect. And then, yes, this one you have to kind of jump up to be able to attack. And there we go. That's it. It's pretty straightforward. But this is going to get us the thing, and then you also have a chance of getting a different type of bow. It's really the only thing that I want right now, and we're going to have to do this boss 6 times. These blocks are also incredibly hard to break. Well, not after you've defeated the boss. So we are now on the final stretch, and what we need to do now is find these particular areas. They're going to be a forest that has a bunch of spruce trees, and then we're going to see this weird soil that's on the ground, and then this giant blob above us. Well, that blob is actually kind of cool, as it has some stuff that we're going to want up there. Now, there's a way that we could potentially beanstalk our way up there. So I think up to this point, did we ever find any of that material? There is a way that we could grow if we had the magical beans, which I think we can actually find down under here, but we need the thing from up here first. Yeah, I didn't get lucky and get any of the beans. There is an obsidian chest that is down here though. So maybe I should just go ahead and start mining my way down. There should be underneath this island, there should be a cavern down here. Aha, and this is it. And this is where we're going to find Trollstein. Yes, this is correct. Aha, and right here is just the thing I'm looking for. This regular obsidian should contain these few things that we're going to need. Ah, yes, we should be able to open this up, and yes, and get some magical beans. That's the important thing. And then also, well, we've got to make our way out of here. Now with our beans, our magical beans, we should be able to now grow A giant beanstalk. This is so cool. Oh, look at this. And that will take us up to the tippity top where, well, we're going to have to figure some things out, right? Let's see. Can I just dash my way up here? This is so cool. I love this. This is, however, where we are going to face our fears. Ourself. Giant versions of ourself, in fact. And look at that guy with a massive pick. Yes, we're definitely pushovers. Just like in real life, it doesn't take much to take us out. And there we go. We are wanting a giant pick, which is this thing right here. And it is indeed giant. Now that we have this, we should be able to go back down under this area yet again. If we just find the hole, which is not hard to find because it was right here. And we should be able to now find another larger version of the obsidian. So right here was our small chest, and right over here is the large one, the large obsidian block. And this requires the use of this giant pick in order to use. So we have to mine up this giant obsidian, which is going to take quite a while. Very, very slow grind. Could you imagine mining with a stone pickaxe, some obsidian? Yep, that feels like what we're doing right now. But this should give us access to hopefully a chest. There we go. 4 chests to be exact. And the lamp of cinders is ultimately the last piece of this puzzle. That is the thing that we need. The lamp of cinders allows us to effectively get through the forest that is to come. And then we have still, I think, our final boss to overcome. So as we make our way to the castle, this is where the lamp of cinders comes into play, because this stuff hurts, but we should be able to easily break through it by converting it all into ash. Or we can just teleport our way up there. Yep, this also works. And this building right here is ultimately going to be the final boss. And there are some cool mobs in here, and also these doors you can actually bring back with you. This, however, is still just not finished yet, I believe, and I don't think there's anything else that's been added into here to make that any better. But up top, I don't think we have to go through any puzzles. I think we just have to make our way up to the very top. You can see here is another floor. And then over here, we are very close to getting to the actual top. And right here through this door, and ultimately up top, this is the final boss. And it says final castle work in progress. So join the Discord and check out when there will be more progress. And that, I believe, is it. Now it wants you to collect 12 of these different colored doors as the final task, which is not too difficult to do, given that they're sprawled everywhere. Oh, and we almost forgot to grab a couple of things that are needed for the final quest here, and that is a couple of these rose thorns, and I think we can use the lamp of cinders to grab them. You just have to convert all of this over, and that will allow you to grab these roses. So this should be my last rose needed. There we go, and I also have my task, and then the last thing is just to find one of all of these different saplings. Now, this is all well and good that we have gotten through this dimension, but we still need to get some essence automated, and then we can call the Twilight basically done. So I went ahead and got the essence produced, and so now we have everything except for me taking on the Snow Queen 5 more times. Outside of that, well, we almost have everything to do everything and have it automated that is related to the Twilight Forest. So yes, this is pretty darn cool. And with that, all we have to do now is start thinking about power and getting hostile neural networks actually set up. That way we can start to farm all of these mobs, because I really feel like this is going to be incredibly important. And I also still want to test something. I want to see, can I put one of those Snow Queens inside of a jar? I guess we'll have to wait for a future episode to find that out. Or you can let me know down in the comments below if you happen to test it out yourself. I don't know. Can you farm the Twilight bosses in a Drugamy jar? I would love to find out. So guys, if you did enjoy today's episode, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Hopefully you enjoyed this just as much as I did throughout our journey. And guys, I hope to see you in the next one. And well, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going out to Sherman. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in honestly one of the best ways possible. You are one of the reasons why these episodes can go out as long as they do. So thank you so very much. And guys, I hope to see you in the next one. And you know how it goes. As always, thanks for watching. Bye.